Good morning. My name is Pluria Marshall Jr. I am the chair of the National Newspaper Publishers Association Fund. Welcome to Black Press Week 2021. The theme of 2021 Black Press Week is Black Business Challenges, Responsibilities and Opportunities Amidst the COVID-19 Pandemic. We will also welcome you to join us on Friday morning for our sacred enshrinement ceremony, where we will induct and enshrine NNPA publisher Carter Walter Wesley into the Black Press Archive and Gallery of Distinguished Black Publishers housed at the Moreland Spingarn Research Center at Howard University in Washington, D.C. Lastly, we note that this year is the 194th year of the Black press since Freedom's Journal was first published in 1827. Today, we remain committed to keep the Black press relevant and sustainable. We thank all of our sponsors and supporters.
What would you call a joy that knows no bounds? That is as solemn as it is sweet, with an outpouring of soul that connects us. Joy in resilience, joy in creativity, joy in happiness, joy in strength. What would you call a joy that knows no bounds? A joy supreme. AARP celebrates Black joy. Visit us at aarp.org/blackcommunity.
At General Motors, our vision for the future is a world with zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestion.
The Ultimate platform is a breakthrough in electric vehicle technology.
Super Cruise is the industry's first truly hands-free driving assistance system.
This vehicle is the clearest articulation of exactly what we mean when we say any vehicle can be an EV.
Introducing our new face of Cadillac. The Lyriq is an uncompromising SUV.
Cadillac Celestiq celebrates the extraordinary.
BrightDrop is a single destination for delivery companies helping electrify an industry.
Our mission is not just to build self-driving car technology or build a self-driving car. It's to build a form of transportation that's safer, cleaner, and more affordable and more accessible than what exists today.
We want everyone to have the opportunity to join us and join the movement. General Motors is donating $1 million to the Khan Academy, one of the world's leaders in online learning, to signal the start of a new chapter in our history. We're evolving our brand identity and launching a campaign intended to inspire a new generation of drivers.
I'm Denise Rollard Barnes, publisher of the Washington Informer and secretary of the National Newspaper Publishers Association Fund. Today is March 19, 2021. 194 years ago, on March 16, 1827, the first Black-owned newspaper, Freedom's Journal, was published in the United States of America. Today, as we've done for decades, we honor Freedom's Journal and its publishers, John B. Russwurm and Samuel E. Cornish. The first edition of their newspaper hangs in the Publishers Gallery at the Moreland Spingarn Research Center at Howard University in Washington, D.C. Because of their mission and vision for Black Americans to speak for ourselves and to state our own cause, the National Newspaper Publishers Association and the NNPA Fund proclaims this week as Black Press Week. We take time each year to recognize and honor the many Black men and women who followed in their footsteps by establishing newspapers all across this country. And today, we are over 200 plus strong weekly newspapers and digital publications serving millions of Black readers all across the United States. This year, we're so honored to enshrine in the Publishers Gallery a lawyer, political activist, and publisher of the Houston Informer, in Houston, Texas, Attorney Carter Walker Wesley. We will learn more about Attorney Wesley in a video produced by his grandson, Preston Middleton, in just a few minutes. But first we'll pause to hear from members of the Morgan Spingarn Research Center at Howard University. Following their remarks, NNPAF Chair Floria Marshall will present the plaque that will hang in the Publishers Gallery to the Wesley family.
Ifeanyi Kwame, this is my Baba. Greetings, my name is Shango Kwame, and we're happy to be here. We would like to thank Denise Roloff Barnes of the Washington Informer and the National Newspaper Publisher Association for this great event you're about to see. We're here to do a drum call, which is traditional in African tradition, to begin any ceremony. As the drum is a way of communication, we're going to communicate with you and masses of people all around. Thank you.
Right now, AARP's work is more important than ever. We hear older Americans loud and clear, and that's why we fight for what they and their families need. Access to health care, affordable prescription drugs, opportunities to save for the future, ending age discrimination, a healthy, financially secure, fulfilling life. That's what AARP fights for, because that's what everyone deserves. Join us in fighting for what's right.
Hello, my name is Leela Sewell Williams, and I'm the new curator of manuscripts at Morgan Spingarn Research Center. I'm so excited to be here and very happy to help steward the Black Press Archives, inclusive of the records of the National Newspaper Publishers Association. This collection also includes 170 newspapers that are deposited in our repository. The collections also include manuscript papers of Art Carter, P.L. Prattis, and Ethel Payne, to mention a few. The preservation of the history of African American press is something that's close to my heart, as I am the daughter of an African American magazine publisher who was actually mentored by P.L. Prattis during his time at the Pittsburgh Courier. Since 1914, Moreland Spingarn has continued in its mission to preserve the African American experience. I'm excited to be here and I look forward to working with you.
Hello, my name is Lopez Matthews Jr., and I am the Digital Production Librarian for the Moreland Spingarn Research Center. Under a new initiative meant to improve efficiency and make better use of technology, Moreland began asking NNPA newspapers to start submitting their issues to us electronically. All digital files will be maintained in-house and managed via our long-term digital preservation policy. Thank you to the following newspapers for participating in our new submission process. If you would like to participate in our new submission process, please contact me via email at lopez.matthews@howard.edu so that I can share our online submission form with you. Thank you again for entrusting us with your records, and have a happy Black Press Week.
On behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association Fund, we pause in sacred remembrance and tribute to the life, legacy, and memory of publisher Carter Walter Wesley. We acknowledge and salute the historic contributions to the Black press of America by Carter Walter Wesley throughout the state of Texas and across the United States of America. We will always hold dear in our hearts not only our memories of the outstanding contributions of Carter Walter Wesley, but also we know that today it is important to remain vigilant and committed to his example of leadership and courage to be the trusted voice of Black America. We are therefore honored to install and enshrine Carter Walter Wesley into the Black Press Archives and Gallery of Distinguished Black Publishers housed at the Moreland Spingarn Research Center at Howard University, Washington, D.C., March 19, 2021.
The turn of the last century was forged in the wheel of the Industrial Revolution and the emergence of the Jazz Age. African Americans were experiencing the beginning of embedded intellectual exchange, spurred by the evolution of communication. The primary culprit of this communication was the newspaper. Before the telephone, television, cell phone, and social media, the African American press was the alpha and omega for a growing global population of men and women. Men and women that were the direct descendants of slaves and freedmen. However, as fast as Western civilization was moving in North America, the vestiges of a divisive civil war were experiencing a rebirth. Like today, the army of hate and suppression moved with focused determination. Segregation and the influence of the Ku Klux Klan was pervasive. For some, a growing African American middle class was something many white citizens could not bear. A reality realized during the destruction and bombing of Oklahoma's Black Wall Street. This commitment to disenfranchisement extended to African American servicemen during World War I. During this tumultuous era, a young man born of destiny and purpose took his place amongst the giants of his day. This is the beginning of the legacy of Carter Walker Wesley, World War I hero. Assigned to the famed 372nd Infantry, Lieutenant Wesley fought and led the famous Harlem Hellfighters. After his honorable discharge from the United States Army, Carter Wesley applied and was accepted to the Northwestern University School of Law. This served as a great source of accomplishment for the Fisk University graduate. Carter Wesley was the second African American ever accepted into Northwestern University's law school. After graduating at the top of his law school class, Carter set off to the Black Promised Land, Oklahoma's Black Wall Street. By 1927, Carter Wesley and Jasper Alston moved the practice to Houston. Once back in Houston, the love of entrepreneurship took hold, and after a short stint partnering with Houston Informer publisher C.F. Richardson, Carter purchased the newspaper. This was the beginning of his path to civil rights activism and advocacy. The road was now clear. Carter's orbit was now shared with other legendary champions such as future Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, the NAACP's Roy Wilkins, Walter White, and the first African American federal judge, William Hastie, whom he was co-counsel for the successful Supreme Court case Smith versus Allwright. That landmark case secured African Americans the right to vote in state, local, and national primaries. This was followed by the successful landmark case that Carter Wesley financed, Sweat versus Painter. That case established the School of Law of Texas State University for Negroes, presently Thurgood Marshall School of Law. Now the stage was set for another historic leap. In 1944, with members of the National Newspaper Publisher Association, of which he was co-founder, the leadership of the NNPA, after much negotiation, secured a conference with President Franklin D. Roosevelt and petitioned the president on two crucial matters. One, to allow African American reporters in all presidential news conferences, and second, to direct the War Department to support the inclusion of African American reporters in the European theater. This included African American reporters being embedded with black troops during World War II. During the war, there was rampant racism and patent mistreatment of black enlisted men. Carter Wesley, along with a courageous group of NNPA reporters, went to the front and changed the course of history for African American servicemen and African American media going forward.
Thank you for honoring my father, Carter Wesley, publisher of the Houston Informer and the Dallas Express. My father used the paper as a voice to win more rights for African Americans. A biographer describes him as a political and social power far beyond the measure allotted to most black men of his time. My father wrote a column called The Ram's Horn. In it, he wrote about the city of Houston, his family, his friends, and usually something humorous. He basically wrote it just like he talked. I learned to read very early because he usually wrote something about me. One of my memories of my dad, I went to his office and he was arguing and talking so loud. I asked his secretary, "Who is he talking to so ugly?" She said, "Oh, honey, it's just LBJ. And they get into it every time he comes." Well, that was long before he was president. My dad was a man of integrity and character. He fought for what he believed in. Not only was he a businessman, but he was a loving and caring dad. Thank you again for honoring my dad.
Change. You can resist it, be left behind, or embrace it and move forward.
We're driving it
Everywhere.
We emit optimism, not exhaust.
We plug in our vehicles as naturally as we charge our phones. We don't judge cars by the rev of an engine,
But by the hum of progress. We
are Generation E.
united.
not by age.
But by the desire
We're smart, clean, and safe.
To also be fun, easy,
And powerful. And our power
comes from this.
Ultium. A battery that charges fast.
Runs long. It fits everyone.
Because when it comes to this all-electric future,
Nobody will be left out.
And that changes everything.
the electric future starts now.
Thank you very much for joining us for this annual enshrinement ceremony, and we look forward to seeing you again next year.
How can we find the best climate solutions? We look for a light, one bright enough to inspire us all to work together. Right now, America's natural gas and oil companies continue to lower emissions worldwide, all while fulfilling essential energy needs. Together, we can keep the U.S. the world leader in reducing emissions. See how American innovation lights the way at energyforprogress.org.